So, welcome back and hello if you are new. This week, I'm going to be looking at what's ended up actually being a Colorado double bill. First of all, I'm going to be looking at Allegaeon's absolutely scorchingly good new album, Damnum. I'll be looking at, as I'm sure you've probably guessed, the good, the bad, the interesting, and then after that, summing up my points. And then it's over to you, the viewer, to actually listen to the record and let me know what you think about both the video and the album in the comment section underneath me. Allegaeon also have the crown of maybe one of my favourite interviews ever that we did with Riley and Greg.
I'm the Metal Tress, and I'm here with Allegaeon.
You know, you'd think after this many interviews you would get our name right.
He couldn't get through one!
Damnum is the band's most collaborative effort to date, and there really is kind of evidence of that. There's so many different things happening here, and it's also, I think challenging the overall Allegaeon archetype where it comes to songwriting. And in a way, I think this has really allowed for a greater sense of narrative to kind of run throughout the record. There's a lot more things that they're experimenting with, and you can particularly see that on, I think, the Dopamine Void 1 and 2. There are definitely some classic tropes of Allegaeon that are still here, like, for example, the Spanish kind of classical guitar that has always been a real big, I think, standout moment of Allegaeon, but it's woven into the fabric of the album even better. There's also a really great balance of kind of more riff-centric songs, which would be almost kind of similar to Cattle Decapitation, I find, on Blight, which is kind of like a bit more of a mosher. Then you've got the cinematic overtones of Called Home, which at times reminded me of Opeth, but really, really intriguing. And then you've got that classic of like form shifter Allegaeon, which is on the absolutely brilliant Dopamine Void 2. And I really think that Riley gives the singer from Artspire, Oliver or Olivier, a run for his money with the And of course, there's incredible solos, as you would expect from Greg Roth or Greg Burgess and Mike Stansell, two absolutely brilliant guitarists. You've got Gods and Worms, the Dopamine Void 2, Blight. There's so much brilliant stuff happening on here. Bastards of the Earth as well is another one. Really great solos, nice tone, nice melody, and changing the song as they kind of go through as well. In terms of the bad, again, like most of my reviews, there's not really a huge amount of bad things to say here. There were a couple of moments on Vermin where my kind of attention waned a little bit, and on Saturnine, as much as the kind of riff is really strong and the melody's great, I thought it would be cool if there was something slightly different happening there. But, that's just my personal opinion. It's not, any real fault of the album itself. So the title, Damnum, is actually Latin for the word loss. So loss is kind of the overall theme on this record. There was a lot of, a lot of the members lost people throughout the recording process of this. And there was also even some suicides, which I'm sure really contributed a hell of a lot to the lyrical outpouring of this. But also, Riley really wanted to kind of focus on the idea of mental health. 24 months, it's really been a huge dark period in humanity, and it still continues to be. And I think that, it's very much a poignant thing to tackle. Not necessarily just mental health, but, the idea of suicide and how prevalent it is, among young men, and something that really is sort of very close to their hearts, I think. And there's even, I think, segments of the lyrics in here that have been taken from conversations that the guys have had with their friends, or, I think even lyrics that were taken as like old sayings that they've had. I'm not quite sure if I've got that exactly right, but it's along those sort of lines. So it's an incredibly personal record, but also I feel like it speaks to a lot of other people and, you know, trying to kind of relate to their experiences as well. And from a kind of musical perspective, I think that, you know, the kind of ace in the hole that was the end of Apoptosis with clean vocals really kind of sees Riley implement that into the band's sound. You know, you've got tracks like Of Gods and Worms, To Carry My Grief Through Torpor and Silence, Into Embers as well, has a massive chorus. So really they're kind of running with this idea of bringing in this clean vocal sound. So I also think that there's a hell of a lot of depth on here. You know, you've got tracks which are in the vein of Called Home, which is more of a progressive kind of idea, but definitely a lot more cinematic. And then you've got kind of the ivory tinklings of Blight's piano section, which I totally didn't expect. And I think there's, you know, a hell of a lot to be said for Jeff Saltzman, who's the new drummer as well, who really does push the band's sound, I think, forward. And Allegaeon have brought together elements that were present on Proponent of Sentience and also Apoptosis, but now they've created them in one succinct narrative on Damnum. It's a brilliant record and hopefully one that will really get people to finally pay the proper attention that Allegaeon are so sorely deserving. So I hope you learned a little bit more about Allegaeon and their new album Damnum, but what are your thoughts? Let me know what you thought of the video and of the record underneath me in the comments below, and I will see you next week for another album review. Take care, my friends.